Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the proximity mines that are found in the newest Armada expansion, Rebellion in the Rim. Now, this expansion is not out yet, but I did get an early copy at Gen Con, and I'm going to be talking about these right now. So, before I dive into this, though, I do want to remind you guys there is still a few days left to enter to win the $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber, so click that subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, you're already there. And then just leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. There's also a Legion-specific giveaway going on in my Legion videos for one of the Gen Con promos for the Spot Gloss. So really nice. But everybody's eligible for the regular $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. So, and if you don't win this one, there's new giveaways all the time. So, proximity mines. So, while doing the Rebellion in the Rim unboxing at Gen Con, there are a lot of cards that reference proximity mines, and I said, I was going to talk about those in a future video. Well, the future has become the present. The present will become the past, and the past remains far, far away. And seen. So let's talk about proximity mines. Basically, it's a little token that looks just like this over here, and they're very similar to the mines or objective tokens in size. You're going to they're going to blow up and they're going to do damage to ships. So, but instead of taking my word for it, let's go ahead and reference the rules. So, here's what the rules page looks like. We're talking about proximity mines. Some upgrade cards in this expansion refer to proximity mine tokens. When proximity mine tokens are placed, they must be placed beyond distance 1 of any other proximity mine tokens. This is the rule for placing them regardless, although some cards that will place them will have some additional restrictions, but the rule is they can never be placed within distance 1. They always have to be placed beyond distance 1. When a ship ends its movement at distance 1 of a proximity mine token, remove that token from the play area and roll 2 blue dice. The ship is dealt 1 face-down damage card for each hit or crit icon rolled. Now, this is very similar to the old Minefields expansion, or the objective, the blue objective, but the difference there is that this is regular face-down damage, regardless of whether it's a hit or crit, and this is just going straight onto the ship. And the thing about how deadly these are is these bypass shields. So this is really bad, especially for like MC30s, for example. You can really wreck a lot of fragile ships. Rebels, I think this is more of a threat towards a lot of rebels. This is a big threat towards MSU type fleets where you're gonna have a lot of ships flying around. And and there's no choice here too. It's not like you're going to move and like the owner may do it or may wait. It just happens. And from reading this, it sounds like whoever controls the ship that ends its movement, they're the ones to roll the dice. Not like whoever's rolling the dice makes a big difference. But if you end your movement, then and you trigger the proximity mine, you're the one to roll the dice. So that is basically, and that's not who placed the proximity mine, it's who actually triggered it, rolls the dice. Now, another difference is the fact that ships can attack proximity mines. When a ship performs an attack, it can declare 1 proximity mine token as a target instead of attacking a ship or squadrons. The defending mine token is treated as a squadron with 1 hull point that is not friendly to any ship or squadron and has no keywords or defense tokens. If that token suffers at least 1 point of damage, remove that token from the play area. So, it's basically like an anti-squadron attack. However, it can only attack 1 proximity mine token and nothing else. So it's going to consume the attack from that arc, which is also useful because that may mean, for example, a Super Star Destroyer uses its front hull shot, or one of its front hull shots, on a proximity mine token instead of on you. So that counts as 1 attack from 1 arc, which is cool. Now, if you are able to have multiple, a ship might be able to attack 2 proximity mine tokens if he's got 1 in the front arc and 1 in the side arc. Or if you've got gunnery teams, in theory, you can probably go with 1 proximity mine token here, 1 proximity mine token there. But you're not going to be able to hit multiple proximity mines with 1 attack. Now, one thing that's important to keep in mind is that when you're placing proximity mines, you may want to place them just behind obstacles such that your opponent will be an obstructed shot. So It doesn't really talk about how we measure line of sight, but I would assume we'll follow the same rules as squadrons, where it's basically to the center. So if so basically if like they can see a little part of it, basically that's at least how it looks to me. Let me know if you think otherwise, but yeah. So when placing these, you may want to have them kind of obstructed by other ships, but then at the same time, there might be a risk, right? So, but also they have to use their anti-squadron armament. So if somebody's only got black dice, they're not going to be able to hit them until they're pretty darn close. So it's really going to mess with people depending on how you want to use these. So how do you get proximity mines? How are you able to put them out? And it's going to be wild, too. First, the most obvious way is with the proximity mine upgrade. This is an offensive retrofit card, and it's a one-shot. It's 4 points, which is not bad. It's not unique, so you can put as many of these as you can fit, in theory. But there's 3 of these in the Rebellion in the Rim expansion, so you can only get 3. Now, if you do want to spam proximity mines, you can pick up a second copy of Rebellion in the Rim. I'm considering picking up a second copy of Rebellion in the Rim for other reasons, not specifically for proximity mines, because this one has a built-in function to kind of make it a little bit less spammy. So before deploying fleets, again, so this happens, you're going to set out your objectives up first, and then you're gonna before you deploy fleets, you may discard this card to place a number of proximity mine tokens equal to half your engineering value rounded down. Rounded down is a keyword because a lot of times you round that value up. So a ship that has an engineering value of 3 is still only going to place 1 proximity mine token. So to really get more than 1 token out of this, you want it on a 4 or higher. So that's kind of how that works. You may place these tokens anywhere in the play area beyond distance 5 of enemy ships and distance 1 of each other. Now, strange to me how this specifies beyond distance 5 of enemy ships, and I think that's just good future proofing, because this is before deploying fleets when you can do this. So there can't really be any ships on the board before we've deployed fleets. I mean, am I right? Can I get a fist bump? I mean, so what is that? Anyway, but yeah, so I imagine this is just future proofing in case there's maybe a some kind of scenario or some kind of thing someday where you're like, all right, we start off, these ships are already in play. That's certainly a case. Heck, it might even be in one of the new green objectives that I haven't even read through because I haven't played through the campaign yet. But that sounds like that's just good future proofing. So in case some ship happens to start off before we deploy fleets, then we can do this. But yeah, so basically most ships are probably only going to get 1 proximity mine use out of this. But if you're running real big ships, you can get 2. And that's why I think this one's good, because it's not quite as spammy. Because if I want to run, a whole, like, let's say I wanted to run 4 small ships so I could get 4 proximity mines. Well, I could do that with only 2 cards. If I just put them on, big ships with engineering value 4. So you can get up to 6 out of this in theory. But that's kind of really pushing it. So I think they did a good job with the design of this card. I like that you can basically put out 1 or 2. Or in some cases, if you have an engineering value of 6, you can put out 3. But not very many ships can do that. All right, so there's other ways to get proximity mines. You have Sabine Wren, who we had seen spoiled early on. And at the start of the ship phase, you may discard this card to place a proximity mine token in the play area at distance 1 to 2 of an obstacle and beyond distance 3 of enemy ships. See how I'm talking about how they have their own additional stuff. You still have to follow the rule of it must be beyond distance 1 of any other proximity mine. So you even in this case, you're not going to be able to put this right next to another proximity mine, because the core rules, let's back up here, the core rules are pointing out, whoops, back up, there we go. The core rules are pointing out whenever you place one, you have to do it beyond distance 1 when proximity mine tokens are placed. All right, so so basically, Sabine said, but what's cool about her is that you can use her in the middle of the game. You don't have to do this at the start, because these proximity mines are going to function very much like minefields. You're using them to kind of force your opponent's fleet one direction, to kind of funnel them one direction, where you want them to go, or just come right through them and pay the price. She kind of works a little bit differently in that she's going to drop it in the middle of the game, at the start of the ship phase. So any ship phase, there's 6 ship phases, so you can do it whenever. So that's pretty cool, and she's not too expensive. 4 points, it's not bad. And then I was going to say Matt Martin, but Mart Matten, Sato's nephew there in Iron Squadron, they have a pretty interesting ability, and the way it's worded is very interesting, because at the start of the squadron phase, you may toggle your activation slider to the activated side. Now, in order to do that, you have to be unactivated. So basically, you're not going to be able to say, "Oh, I was activated by a squadron command." Now, granted, if you are activated by a squadron command and then reactivated later, then like by RitR Talon, for example, then in theory you could still do this. But he's not so great that you really like. I don't know if Mart Matten is somebody I really would want to RitR Talon. He's a possible contender, but not necessarily. There's probably some use cases for that, but usually I want to save that for somebody like Luke Skywalker if possible. But if you do, then you can place a proximity mine token at distance 1. Again, still going to have to follow the rules of must be beyond distance 1 of another proximity mine token. So he can move in, and instead of attacking, and this is thematic from the show, like kind of just launching, shipping containers full of explosives, and that's basically kind of what he's doing here. And that's nice. The only problem here is that, first off, you don't get to attack, and you don't even get to move. So it's kind of at a cost. But the other thing is you're in the squadron phase at this point. And the problem with doing this in the squadron phase is that these ships are going to have a chance to respond to it, and they're going to probably attack it. Now, if they may not attack you, because if you're going to put it very close to you, you may be in the same arc. But I think a ship will probably opt to attack at least if it's early, opt to attack that squadron or that proximity mine token. Now, this is one of those cases where maybe you do place it just kind of behind an obstacle, especially against a ship that has only 1 anti-squadron die. So then it's not going to be able to blow it up. So there's possibilities there. So this will be a fun, and you can use a lot of those altogether. And again, I think minefields is worth pointing out because it's a little bit different. But yes, so minefields do operate a little bit differently, and they're also using objective tokens instead of proximity mine tokens. So with minefields, I think you can combo them both together and use minefields as one of your objectives and also drop proximity mines. But they're just going to be different. They're going to behave differently. And also proximity mines are not eligible to be moved by anything with strategic, whereas minefields is eligible. So with that said, I want to show you guys a build that I was working on. So let's go ahead and here we go. So I've got it behind me here, and this is Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder, which has been updated with the new stuff. So that's kind of cool. So here, I like I went with a Rebel build because most of our proximity mine cards are Rebel in nature here. So I went with kind of an Akbar build, trying some interesting stuff out. And we've got Ezra here, and this is just I threw this build together very quick. It's not a super serious build, but it is just some ideas, some thoughts on maybe ways to kind of work out the proximity mines. So in this example, I do have proximity mines because you would have 3 in your expansion. So you're going to have, I put 1 on an assault frigate. They have an engineering value of 4. So already good. I'm getting 2 proximity mine tokens right from there. I've got 2 on an MC-80 command cruiser. They have an engineering value of 4. So now I've got 4 proximity mines. And I put 1 more on a Hammerhead scout corvette. I'm only going to get 1 for that. Okay, that's no problem. That's not a big problem. And I recognize I've got spinal armament on an Akbar fleet, if we're only going to shoot it out of our sides. I get that. I was just thinking, I'd keep him, maybe in the rear and just change things up a little bit. But enhanced armament objectively would probably be a better option there. However, we're trying some weird stuff. Honestly, I think maybe Dodonna would probably be a gooder commander, better commander, considering that you're looking at being able to do straight up damage bypassing shields. There's probably some other other cards that we could leverage that would do more damage like that. But I figured Akbar would be fun with this one, at least with the Assault Frigate and the MC-80, and that felt very fun to me. Now, in addition to just proximity mines here, we do have Sabine Wren on the MC-80, and I'm using Mattmore down here. I also put a VCX because one of our objectives is going to be minefields. I put 2 X-Wings down there, so we've got 4 squadrons. We've got a little bit of squadron presence. VCX will allow us a little bit of relay, but VCX is really in there for strategic, in case I do need to mix minefields with my proximity mines. I can have a little more flexibility on where I put the minefields because I can move those, whereas I can't really move the proximity mines. I can place additional proximity mines, but I think if you're going to go this heavy, you do get a pretty good amount. I got a nice handful of proximity mines, but I imagine you might, it is in theory possible to exhaust, to potentially run out of proximity mines, especially depending on how much you get. I am planning on picking up another Rebellion in the Rim, so I'll probably have a ridiculous supply of proximity mines at some point, because I think it would be really fun to run maybe an 800-point list with like maxing out proximity mines, just to just to have an entire field. Like I really want to do that. Maybe I'll do that against the AI, and that'll be just insane. I could probably blow up entire ships in a single move. Yeah, I think that'll be a fun way to go. But yeah, so also we're using the linked turbo laser towers here. The LTTs are fun, and and I kind of like that. I like it on the Assault Frigate Mark IIA as well, because of the fact that I've got 2 blue dice for squadrons. So then I could do 2 blue, a black, and a red, and I get to re-roll the red, against a single squadron. That'd be fun. It'd be kind of fun. But then we have gunnery teams. We've got Akbar there. Ezra will also help us, again, with moving. Ezra and Sabine would work together in this. He could move the asteroid closer, then Sabine drops it closer to the asteroid. Those all work together. Ezra is kind of useful to have all around it. He's only 3 points, so I think that would be a fun one to put into a build like this too. The Hammerhead's really not doing much in here other than just having the offensive retrofit, indicating we're using all 3 of our proximity mine upgrades. And just really the goal for this was just to put everything in here and see what we could come up with. Originally I was looking at 3 assault frigates. You could do something like that as well. I just wanted to try different things. Not everybody has 3 assault frigates, so I figured I'd stick with 1 ship of each different type and see what I could come up with. For objectives here, I went with minefields for my blue. For yellow, I decided to go with fire lanes. I figured fire lanes would be a fun one. Like anything where you definitely know that your opponent wants to come to one spot. Then I figured it's a good idea to be able to block off that one spot. And if you're going to have 5 proximity mines and maybe minefields or something like that, that's just incredible. And then station assault is the same thing. They're going to be coming to the one spot, and we're totally going to be pulling them back. And that's another good thing that is going to work well with Ezra. And then we also have the VCX in there for strategic in case we do get fire lanes too. We can start pulling those tokens farther back, and they're going to have to come in. And then I don't care if they fly through the proximity mines or not, because, well, I'll just be collecting. You can collect over 200 points from fire lanes. It's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing. All right, guys. So we have talked about Rebellion in the Rim's new proximity mine tokens, and hopefully I was able to cover all of the basics. But they're fun. They're going to be a lot of fun. I think they're going to potentially hurt you though, because I think the big takeaway here is don't put them too much in the path that you're going to go. I think they will potentially work very well with things like Akbar fleets, whereas you're going to circular strafe, and and somebody's going to want to try and come right at you. If you got one weak side, whether it's in front of you or behind you, if you've got a weak area, you can kind of punish the opponent from trying to go into your weak area. So I think that's one of the benefits of something like the proximity mine token. They're not too expensive, especially on the right ship for what they can give you. I think they're pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I also want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and you definitely help make this all possible. So thank you guys very much. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, there's a link down to that as in the description below, as well as links to all of my social media stuff. And if you want to follow me on Twitter and Facebook, all that stuff, you can find all of that down there. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.